Where is the $100 billion? That is the billion-dollar question. Zelensky did an interview, and you won't believe what he just said. Somehow between America and its leaders and its lobbyists and its defense contractors and our military to Zelensky and the oligarchy and Ukraine, there's about $100 billion missing. Today we're going to discuss that story and how pertinent it is, and shows how important it is to have good leadership. And not only that, to start checking where our money goes with true inspector generals and true eyes on everything. Remember, the Treasury Department has been letting everything go because of back-end deals. We're going to talk about what Zelensky said in the interview that should scare you to pieces, and also the fact that some of his troops are deserting. Are we coming to a closure of this war? I don't know. Then we're going to discuss the trade wars, the tariff situation. Everybody's up in arms about it, but truth be told, what happened in Panama was a huge win for Trump. Not only that, because the trade war has started, we're going to see how it actually implements and how it hurts us. What we don't realize is, I think we listen to mainstream media and we listen to these pundits, and truth be told, none of this stuff actually hurts us too much. They want to act like it hurts you so then you'll get upset, but truthfully, they're just wanting you to freak out. The tariff thing actually is a good thing, and we'll discuss it. Now let's talk about the market. Crypto fell to pieces yesterday. The stocks are not looking good this morning. But for some reason, gold is skyrocketing. That usually means bad signs for the dollar. Well, the dollar is doing really good against its competitors because of the tariffs. So are we seeing this weird change in value in America? I think what you're starting to see is America is back on top. And it's going to be a hard road to get there, but we're going to stay on top. We're also going to talk about the cities in chaos. It's amazing how we are trying so hard to fix America. However, our cities are in peril. And the Democrats want to keep it that way because all the cities that are in peril are all Democratic-led. In LA, after half of it burned down, they're allowing people to fly the other flags, close down freeways, all in the name of wanting to stay in a country and wave somebody else's flag. Does that make sense to you? Karen Bass, the mayor, just said, hey, please back off. So now we're seeing the fact that the police can't even do their job, even in the big cities. We're going to discuss some of the other cities that are seeing riots and chaos. And I cannot believe we're allowing people of foreign countries to literally burn our cities down and stop our traffic. Unbelievable. Let's talk about these stories and a few more. It's crazy out there. This video starts right now. Hey guys, welcome to the channel today. Thank you for being here. Again, we hope that you enjoy this content. If you do, please, we humbly ask that you give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel so that way you can always know what's going on. So we want to be wiser and have a common sense approach to the crazy world that we live in. Now let's jump into the stories of the day. Actually, before we do, remember there is a winner that will be announced for January on this channel. So please stay tuned to the end of the video. We're going to be giving away a big kind of a prize pack from our sponsors and from us, and it's just a thank you for you being a subscriber to our channel. So we will be releasing that name a little bit later. Now let's jump into these stories. First, let's talk about the cities in peril. We're going to go to Los Angeles first because it seems like there's always a problem in Los Angeles. It says breaking: tear gas and flashbang deployed in downtown LA as protests and chaos erupt in Los Angeles. The police in riot gear face off with thousands of anti-ICE protesters. Tear gas and flashbangs you can hear all over the city. What you're seeing is people are waving other countries' flags on the midst of the streets of the USA. Now, here's the problem I have here. They shut down, if you remember, they shut down the LA highway yesterday, the interstate yesterday. Not only did they do that, the city has been stopped with traffic. They've caused problems. They've caused fires, break-ins, issues all over the city. All in the name of wanting to stay in America, the place that they are protesting, the place that they are waving a foreign flag in, the place that they want to not assimilate to. And they want to keep breaking the law. Now help me understand that. I mean, let's go back through that list. They're wanting to stay free of charge, breaking the law because they're not legal citizens, waving a foreign flag, abrupting traffic for Americans to get to jobs or get home, and causing mischief on our streets. And guess what? Karen Bass said that police just need to be pulled back. They didn't allow them to really stop anything. Remember, we have the right, the Bill of Rights, and of course our freedoms, we have the right to protest, but I don't think that goes along with foreign people who break the law on our soil, does it? Well, again, these leftist liberal cities are causing the problem. It says these stories are happening in places like Dallas. This is happening in Houston. This is happening in California and several big cities there. There's also some protests in New York. What you're seeing is the fact that they do not want to go back to their countries, but they'll wave that country flag over our country flag. It just makes no sense to me. If they love their country so much, why can they not go back? Now, remember, there's been negotiations. There's been Venezuelans sent back. Tom Homan's doing a good job. It goes back to this. Even on the red carpet last night, nobody watches the Grammys. I sure didn't. But there was a star that was saying, look, we want to see this to keep on happening. Now, when you start hearing Hollywood people, even though it's a minority, you start hearing Hollywood people say this, it's because they realize the dangers of it. Did you see in the fires last week how there were still theft, thievery, looting, and problems? Now, was that all illegal, or was that just people that was part of America? What we're seeing here is the breakdown of what leftist ideology has given to cities, from the theft, thieving, and problems for Americans, but then you add a whole nother issue because you're adding millions upon millions upon millions of people who are not actually here legally too. So you wonder why cities are getting just lambasted and nobody wants to visit cities and they're causing problems, everybody's moving out and no one feels secure? Well, my gosh, the leadership has actually ruined their own cities. Think about every city that you're close to. Every city. I'm close to Jackson, Mississippi. I'm close to New Orleans. I'm close to Baton Rouge. Now I say close. In proximity, I'm within hours of those locations. Not one of them do I want to visit because of the dangers of those cities. None of those are ran by conservatism. None of those are ran by traditional values. All of those are ran by democratic rule that's been like that for years. Think about it. Look around you, think north, south, east, and west, and you talk about all the cities around you, and I bet you not one major city has got Republican leadership, and especially conservative leadership, and that is staunch and doing well. I mean, there's just not many. There's not many. So what I'm saying is this. You want to fix the cities? You want to stop the chaos? You want to keep people safe? You got to get people out of there that's not supposed to be there. And secondly, you got to actually start adhering to the law. That's what we have not done. We've not enforced our laws. We've allowed people to just lackadaisically go about their life and cause problems. We cannot do that anymore. For people who are just normal Americans, they don't even want to live in these cities anymore. And when they are, they feel unsafe. I could not imagine waking up in a city each and every day wondering what's going to happen in that city each and every day. It would be miserable. So if you want to control the cities, the problem is not trying to fix the government that's there, is you've got to change the way it's run. Now, the problem is you have a lot of these big cities that are in states that are run by liberal ideology too. So the White House and D.C. and Trump can't fix a lot of that. It's going to come down to you pushing in your state grassroots campaigns to get these people out of leadership. I don't want bad leadership going throughout America. But guess what? We have it until we as Americans get fed up with it. We got fed up with it on the national level. That's great. I'd love to see Trump and some of this cabinet coming in. But we need to get fed up with it in our local towns, in our cities, and our states. If real change, truthfully, real change comes from within our home, our community, our city, our state. When we start doing that, I think you're going to see a bigger change than what you're going to worry about in Washington. You're going to see your neighborhoods change, your states change. The people of Los Angeles, they should be fed up. Problems with major fur burning down, and then all of a sudden riots in the streets. And not one of those things could not have been at least prevented or at least helped if they would have just obeyed the laws, let the water flow, and start arresting people that shouldn't be there. things would be better. And I honestly say this, and I know people, they dog me out when I say this. I get the most negative comments on it, but you've got to get out of these cities. If you can't reform them and you've tried, then you've got to get out. There's no point in living in the fear and worry and anxiety that something's going to go wrong. I mean, like I told you, I could not imagine waking up each and every day wondering what's happening in the street right below me. And I know people say, well, we don't have the money to move. To be honest with you, city living is expensive. You could move to rural places for way cheaper. Now, the liberals and crazies are not moving to the rural areas. Don't worry, people. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying if you're a normal, God-fearing, loving American, you've got to get out of these cities. Try to change it, no problem. I didn't say run from it, but I said at some point in time, you've got to get away from it and protect your family. We know a family in California, and they're phenomenal people. And they're homeschool, and they do good things, and they want to change their area over there. But it came to a point where it's like, you either you're going to risk your family's safety, or you've got to get out. So my plea to you, if you're living in these cities, you're right in the midst of these suburban areas that's having problems. If you can't change it and get better leadership, then it's time to move on. Now, before we go on to the next two stories, a word from today's sponsor. Have you ever Googled yourself and literally your family members and information of yours came up? The question always comes to mind is how much of my public information is actually on the World Wide Web, on the internet, where people could just access it. Not only that, think about all the spam calls you get, all the spam emails you get. I get several a day and have to block and block and block. That's where my friends at Aura, the sponsor of today's video, can help. Aura will help remove your personal information from data brokers and people searching sites to sell your information from and to identity thieves and scammers and more. Aura monitors your personal data, including your social security number, your house number, your phone number. And not only do they check it and monitor it, they will alert you if all of a sudden they find that your information has been compromised. Also, Aura VPN. VPN protects you on the internet, and this was with military-grade protection when it comes to Aura's VPN. It blocks all scam and phishing sites from getting your information in your accounts. What about an antivirus? What about a password manager? 24/7 US-based support. I get all this in one app called Aura. I do not want to leave myself vulnerable. We talk about it all the time. We live in a digitized world. The last thing I want to do is protect my home and not protect myself online. Check out aura.com/themax today. You will not be sorry that you did. My information is mine. My social is my social. My address is mine. The last thing I want is someone else to have it. You can go to my link below, aura.com/themax, and get 2 weeks free. That will be enough for you to see how Aura is an asset to you, because you're going to realize how much you're exposed online. Stop leaving yourself vulnerable. Check out Aura today. Link is in the description. Thank you so much, Aura, for sponsoring today's video. Again, I know I talk about Aura a lot, but having safety on these devices is key. For me, especially my family, I want to make sure that if our kids have to do schooling online, that they're safe. And I'm telling you, Aura is a good thing to have because we're manipulated quickly online. And I'm just telling you, this is not part of the ad, but it's a good investment. Now let's talk about some of these other stories. Let's go to Trump and what he just did with Panama. Panama, came out last week, and I love when these people come out and they try to act tough. And look, I have no problem with that. You need to act tough for your people. Canada's done the same thing. Mexico's done the same thing. But it comes to a point where you've had your way for so long. Sometimes you just got to say, okay, it's time to just swallow my pride and let's work together to build this negotiation. Because what it does is actually makes you look weaker when you come out and spout all this stuff that you're going to hold America's feet to the fire. And when Trump plays the game, and he says, no, that's not how it's going to work. This is not a typical politician in Washington like it once was. Then you have to kowtow. That's exactly what happened with Panama, and this could be the biggest benefit. Now, a lot of people have said, well, why is China getting a less, taxation, basically, a tariff, than what Mexico and Canada has? Well, because Mexico and Canada are allowing some of the bad things that we've been trying to get away from, the drugs, the trafficking issues, of course, the loose borders. They're the ones that are affecting us the most, because they're allowing things to cross into our borders. And remember, a lot of this stuff is from China, so that's where the tariff comes from. But this is what actually hurts China the most. This Panama Canal, they've been pretty much over it and had a great relationship with Panama after Jimmy Carter pretty much botched it back when he was president. Trump's done with it. And what happened yesterday was basically Panama saying a few days ago, well, hey, you're not taking the Panama Canal over. We're independent. We don't need you. Yesterday, the Panama president had a change of heart. He came in and said, look, we're not going to negotiate a 40-year deal that we once had with the Belt and Road Initiative with China. We are now going to let that agreement go, and we're going to work hard to support what America wants. Remember, the Panama Canal, I think they said most of the trade, especially of course in the Western Hemisphere, but they said most of the trade, the food, the goods, go through the Panama Canal for the world. I think it's like 60 or 70%. These canals, these areas where they go into, I mean, for instance, there's one in the Middle East. When these trade routes are taken over by certain areas or controlled by certain people, then what happens is that is a leverage and negotiation. Well, the situation with this one, unlike the ones that are across the seas, like the South China Sea or the situation in the Mediterranean, this one is in our back door. This is literally in our hemisphere, and we use it more than probably anyone. So this stands a reasoning, especially because it took our tax dollars to pay for the canal to fix it. This stands to our reasoning and say, look, you're going to work with us over someone who's who's all the way across the world, like China. So basically Panama agreed. And so they backed out of the agreement with China, and now pretty much is going to work with America and do kind of what America says. Now, again, people will say, well, that's a wrong approach. No, it's not, because this is our tax-paying dollars that fixed the canal. This is us that we should have never gave it away for $1. And remember, part of the agreement was if it ever becomes an adversarial relationship, it becomes ours again. That's pretty much what the agreement says. So what we see with Trump doing this is key. Now also, the tariff situation. We've got into a tariff war. But did you see, remember, these countries need us more than we need them. And again, it's one of those things that you have to realize that is the case for America. America has been held down by its own leadership for so long that now all of a sudden when we see true leadership, we're like, oh gosh, it's scary. No, it's not. He's not being bad. He's not being the big bad wolf. He's not being a bully. What he's doing is he's just standing up for the American people. Your tax dollars. I mean, we're just getting a story with Ukraine that $100 billion is missing of your tax dollars. That means someone stole your money. I mean, are you really wanting someone to steal your money like that? Well, that's what these tax dollars are doing when we have leaders that are weak and have no backbone. Panama Canal, Cowtail. Now, the trade war with Canada and Mexico is hurting them way worse than it's going to hurt us. Their dollar, their Canadian dollar, and of course the peso are falling to pieces now. Now, you may say, oh, we're going to feel a little kerfuffle today. I mean, the crypto market's falling out. We're going to see recession time numbers here in America. Well, we're going to feel a little kerfuffle, but truthfully what you're going to see is a better negotiation which is going to ultimately benefit America more than it's going to benefit anywhere else. We're going to fix our border. We're going to work on making sure that we can get the people out of here that shouldn't be here, but then on top of that, we're going to have people who respect us more than take advantage of us. We mentioned that yesterday. Please go back and watch yesterday's video because it actually talks about this in a lot more detail. So a trade war has started, but the tariffs actually are not going to harm us nearly as much as it's going to harm Canada and Mexico. Now, what I hope to see a tariff in Europe. Now, you're going to say, Colby, that's our trade partners. We can't do that. They're taking advantage of you. Do you realize how many vehicles, how much Europe takes advantage of America? They get us into wars all the time. They cause so much problem for us, and not one time are they worried about buying our vehicles and building our manufacturing up. They're not even buying our natural gas. They're buying Russia's. Is that not mind-blowing? That they're fighting Russia, but then they're still buying gas from Russia through the pipelines. So instead of that, Trump is calling their hand and saying, listen, you're not our friends. So think about it this way. If you had a friend that always took advantage of you, you always had to be the one to initiate getting together. You always had to be the one to kind of give up time and selflessly give to your other friend. They're the ones that always took your money and took advantage of you, made you pay for the dinners, made you do. Are they really your friend? Or are you just their crutch? That's the relationship that America has had with all the quote-unquote allies that we've had, is that everybody wants us to just crutch them, and actually instead of having true leadership and saying, look, this is supposed to be a better relationship than what we've got. I don't want a friend that lives off me, that takes my money, that deals with me always being the one to initiate going out, the one that always has to pay for the food, the one that always has to make sure everything's done because the friend truly just says, well, we're all friends, you're just going to do everything for me. They're taking advantage of that relationship, aren't they? Well, that would be exactly what's happening with Europe, Mexico, Canada, Panama, and all the other ones, even Japan, like we talked about yesterday. We've pretty much been their military since World War II. We can't play games anymore. The trade wars are actually a good thing because what you're going to see is a balanced approach. You may see that in a month, 2 months. It may take time, but ultimately America can come out on top because everyone is needing America more than America needs them. This is where I think, though, we need to come back to a stronger dollar, stronger assets such as gold, come back to being independent energy-wise and also medicinally-wise, and start listening to what people have said for so long, that American people can literally be independent of everyone. So if we become independent and stalwart and strong, then we don't need anyone else's stuff. That way it makes it where if we want to negotiate with them, we can, but we have the leverage and the upper hand. That is what you're actually seeing. You're not seeing a bully. What you're actually seeing is what leadership truly looks like after having such weak leaders over time. Now, here's the key. We cannot allow this to lag off. What I'm scared of is we get so used to, oh, great, this worked out with Panama. Yes, this is doing great with Canada. But then we skip out on the fact of trying to be energy independent. We skip on the fact of all our medicines still come from China that we need to figure out. So there's a lot of things that we need to do, a lot of hurdles we need to jump. But part of that is start establishing a better dollar. Keep doing these trade tariff situations to where we get back on an even playing field. And for instance, the money that we stopped moving all over the country, it saves $1 billion so far a day. That's huge. But we're saving $1 billion a day. Now, there's a new report that came out, and this goes to our next story. Zelensky said, wait. America has it all wrong. America says they've given us $170 to $200 billion. That's false. We've only got about 77. What? Why is this not just breaking on every news site? Because he comes out and says, look, we didn't get all this money that America says we've been gotten. Well, for some reason, America has funded this much. Where did the $100 billion go? Here's a report that says Zelensky claims Ukraine only received $75 billion of the $177. So that means $102 billion has either went to politicians, lobbyists, defense contractors, military, oligarchs, or all the above. $102 billion of your money's missing. Now that didn't come out there in the Biden administration. That came out because Trump is actually doing line by line checking. Doge is going line by line. You remember the report I told you yesterday? That Treasury literally did not decline one payment, even if they knew it was fraudulent, even if they knew it was going to terror, even if they knew it was a false claim, they allowed it to go through. What we're seeing is your tax dollars are being wasted. You could not like Trump at all. There was one report, I love the fact that there's a guy that is a leftist. He said online, he said, look, I don't even like Trump. He said, but by saving my tax dollars, I'm beginning to like him. Not because of his antics, not because of his personality. He said, but if he can save my tax dollars from the fact that I'm paying 30, 40, 50% in each and every year and not seeing any benefit from it, then automatically he should have my vote. You're starting to hear signs of Elon Musk saying the same things about property tax, how it's such a waste. Trump saying income tax is done wrong. When you start hearing this is not rhetoric anymore. This is how we change it. By renegotiating, watching our budget, finding out where we're wasting money, cutting it, and trying to get back on a balanced budget. Ray Dalio said this the other day. Remember, Ray Dalio is not a Trump supporter, but Ray Dalio said Trump is the man for the time right now because what we need is cut. If we don't cut spending, we will not see a strong America. We're going to fall into a recession or crash internationally and domestically. He said, because what we've done is we've spent way too much money and we cannot get on top. That's why if you really want to cut, you're going to see this. If they cut very fast and they start allowing people to leave their jobs, and that's why I think Trump is doing this so aggressively, the more you cut, the quicker you cut, the faster the interest rates come down, the less you actually have to cut. Because the interest on the trillions of dollars that we have would be cut in half by just the interest rate going down. So the debt service, meaning the money we spend each and every month just on debt, would go down dramatically if we would cut our interest rate. Well, we can't cut our interest rate until we cut our spending. It's hand in hand. It goes together. You cut your spending, interest rate drops, all of a sudden we get back on balanced budget and we start seeing some good things happen. You know the last time this happened? This is going to blow your mind. Blow your mind. The last time you saw this many people getting deported, the last time you saw this much trying to get to a balanced budget was Bill flippin' Clinton. That was the last person that actually tried to do this. Isn't it amazing how Democrats have such a short-term memory loss? What Trump is doing is just common sense. You can't live on debt. You can't give all your money away and not have aspects and reasonings for where your money goes. You have to have a budget. All we're trying to do is just become normal again. Have a common sense approach again. Gaining wisdom again. So America can be great again. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts on this story. Are you worried about the $100 billion missing? Remember, that is yours and my tax dollars. The ones that you struggle each and every paycheck to pay. That's yours and mine. You know what I wish they'd do? Quit taking taxes out of people's account automatically. I wish they would make us personally write a check to the government. You know why? Because they would start waking people up to realize how much money they waste on their government. Because it's just deducted out of their check and they don't think nothing about it. It's unbelievable. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts on this. Again, before we leave, I want to give you the winner of the prize for January for this channel. The winner of this month, and this is a person who watches us and has been watching us for a long time, and we're so appreciative of that, is Kelly Miles. Kelly Miles, 1174 is your handle. You have commented, it looks like 100 plus comments on several of our videos. That is so we're humbly thankful for that. So Kelly, please reach out to us. Shoot us an email. We want to get this to you. We'll need your information, but do it via email. Don't put it on the comment section, of course. Reach out to us. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Again, we appreciate you for being a part of the Max and our channel. We hope that we are encouraging, not because of the bad stories, but that we can learn how to be wiser and have a common sense approach to be better. Thank you. God bless.